What's up, everybody? Richard back today, and usually I know that this video may draw in some different viewers. So typically what I do here on my channel is I'm a heavy metal vocalist, and I also react to songs and give my thoughts and analysis on them. But today I wanted to try something different just because this is something that, quite frankly, probably like a lot of you, consumed me for the better part of however many weeks this went on for. I didn't watch the entire trial, but I did watch, I would say, probably 4 weeks of it. I was very consumed by it, and I'll just be straight up with y'all. And I'm sure that, you know, like most people on my YouTube community page are very pro Johnny Depp, and I was as well. It just, I mean, it was just so obvious just watching it and just seeing, and I thought that was really cool to have it on camera and be able to watch it. But now we have some interviews on both Good Morning America and the Today Show of both Camille Vasquez and Ben Chu, the attorneys for Johnny Depp, two of the many that he had. And actually, Camille actually just recently got promoted to partner at her firm, so congratulations to her. And yeah, I wanted to check out these interviews and see what they have to say, because this comes after Elaine Bredehoff, who was one of the attorneys for Amber, went on both of these shows and a couple others, I believe. Where let's just say she kind of made a fool of herself. So let's check these out and see what they have to say. Here we go.
Johnny Depp's lawyers, Camille Vasquez and Ben Chu, sitting down for their first interview since the blockbuster verdict that Depp was defamed by ex-wife Amber Heard. Welcome to you both. Camille, let me begin with you. I think the verdict surprised a lot of legal experts. They thought it was a very uphill fight from the beginning for you all. What was the key to victory?
I think the key to victory was focusing on the facts and the evidence, and Johnny's opportunity to speak the truth for the first time. It was 6 years in the making, and I think he was able to connect with the jury and the general public and tell what really happened in this relationship.
He wasn't in the courtroom for the verdict. What was his reaction when you told him?
Before Ben answers that, yeah, I mean, going into this, like, obviously I'm no legal expert, right? I'm just a regular Joe Schmo. But from my understanding of defamation, it's an extremely hard thing to prove. I mean, the only case that I ever knew of, and which was even a harder one, was Hulk Hogan and Gawker. So this one was surprising to me. I always kind of had the mindset of, even if he doesn't win the verdict, he's won in the court of public opinion. But as we saw, he clean sweep.
He was over the moon. It was like the weight of the world had been taken off his shoulders, and I feel that finally, after 6 years, he's gotten his life back.
He also went on TikTok yesterday thanking his supporters on social media. What role did social media play in this verdict?
My view is that social media played no role whatsoever. This was a decision made by the jury on the evidence presented by both sides, and as Camille said, it was overwhelmingly in Mr. Depp's favor.
Yeah, so that's in a response to Elaine pretty much saying, like, oh, well, there's no way that the jury could not see it. I mean, there was a 10-day off period, there's weekends, there's families, there's no way. And I mean, listen, to give her the benefit of the doubt, I mean, it is kind of difficult to, anybody who, because I know that the jury there was quite a few, younger jurors, so it is kind of hard to avoid it. However, based off of like what I had heard, based off of like other like content creators that were in the courtroom and kind of analyzing like the jurors and whatnot, they said that they looked like they were really invested in this and they were really doing a just job in making sure that they, did their best to conform to the rules of the court and respect the process. So I have to believe that they did that. I mean, I think that that's kind of shitty, for the lack of a better phrase, for Elaine to go on there and accuse the jurors of being influenced by social media, because, like, so if it ruled in favor, I mean, if they ruled in favor of Amber, would you say the same thing? You know what I mean?
Ms. Heard's lawyers put out a statement yesterday saying the verdict was a setback for women's rights, and they went on to say that it's unseemly and unprofessional for you all to be, quote, taking a victory lap for setting back decades of how women can be treated in the courtroom. How do you respond to that?
I think it's disappointing. We're only speaking about what happened in this case, right? And the facts in this case were overwhelmingly positive for Johnny, and the verdict speaks for itself.
How about the
Yeah, and again, I think that is such BS. I mean, for Elaine to say that they're playing off of this like sympathy card, and they're playing off of people who I think I think that there are people who support Amber genuinely, and I'm not saying anything, whatever. I think that's the wrong opinion to have, but I believe that a lot of these people that support Amber are people who may have had their own issues with domestic violence and their own conflicts, and they probably weren't resolved great, and they're looking at Amber as a catalyst for the justice they never received. And that's unfortunate, and I think that's really sad. But I think to say that just because Amber lost, that sets women, I mean, that is just absolutely ridiculous. It's like, it doesn't matter whether you're, non-binary, male, female, whatever. If you lie, you lie. And I think that's what's the important thing here. Is there going to be a level of scrutiny now that some people on the internet may take, like, oh, this domestic, oh, we got to analyze this in more detail? Sure, but I think that's because of Amber lying, not because Johnny won.
Broader criticism, though. It's not just from Heard's teams. Victims advocates have argued that the verdict is going to have a chilling effect on domestic violence victims, and it's a blow to the Me Too movement.
I think our response to that is we encourage any victim to come forward. Domestic violence doesn't have a gender.
So you don't see this as a setback
Yes.
movement in any way, shape, or form?
We do not. We believe that the verdict speaks for itself. The facts are what they were. The jury made a unanimous decision based on those facts.
Yes.
During your cross-examination, what was your impression of Ms. Heard's impression?
Oh, this will
on
be
the jury?
good. This will be good.
I think that
She's
her
smirking.
impression on the
Yeah.
jury was what it was. I think
True.
something that I
Yeah.
focused on and we focused on in that cross-examination was using her words against her. And it was very important for us to, every question that was asked was tied to something she had said previously. And I think the jury got to see and the world got to see and hear from Ms. Heard in that relationship on every single topic.
And George, I think there was
Yeah, and that is that was so cool watching Camille's cross-examination, because she went after her. But that was the other thing too that I noticed with this, is that they used a lot of things against her, whereas with Johnny they were using stories that Amber told to her friends, and that was a lot of their testimony too, was just reiterating the story that Amber had told them, for the most part. And it's like, I thought that the cross-examination was must-see TV.
there was a real contrast. Johnny took ownership of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it seemed at times, and perhaps it came through to the jury, that she had an answer for everything, and she wasn't taking accountability for anything. And I think that made a difference.
Heard's lawyer
Yeah, and I hate to keep pausing, but that's a really good point that Ben points out, because we noticed that even with just Amber's testimony, like everything was somebody else's fault. Oh well, there are these pictures, but the basically blaming her lawyers for not presenting them as evidence. It was just everybody else's fault but her own. The guy from Hicksville, oh, I'd never seen that guy before in my life. Morgan Tremaine from TMZ. It was like, oh, didn't believe him or whatever. And it's so ridiculous.
lawyers say she plans to appeal the verdict. She doesn't have the money to pay for the judgment. And you all have said that the goal is not to impoverish Ms. Heard. Is it possible where we could see a settlement where she forgoes the appeal in return for Mr. Depp waiving any monetary damages?
Well, George, we obviously can't disclose attorney-client communications, but as Mr. Depp testified, and as we both made clear in our respective closings, this was never about money for Mr. Depp.
Yeah.
So this was about restoring his reputation, and he's done that.
So you're not disclosing any privileges, but it sounds like that's something that could be on the table, but it's up to Ms. Heard?
Again, we have to be careful what we say, but this was about Mr. Depp's reputation. That was what it was about for him.
You're like,
Yeah, and so the interesting thing too, for those of you probably already know this, but I saw a video from Legal Eagle and also Bruce Rivers, where in Virginia you actually have to post a bond that is equal to the judgment that you need to pay. So, and again, I feel like here's the thing: it's like, even if she does pay that in appeal, this guy who I watch all the time, who you've probably seen clips of, 99% sure, Asmongold, he made a really good point. He said, like if this trial were to be, if this was to be retried, who are you going to find to be the jury? You know, like these like islanders on these uncontacted tribes. I mean, by now, the pool of people who have not seen this on social media is even smaller than it was going into it or during it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what they expect to get out of this.
Life has changed a lot in the last several weeks. You got made partner this week. Congratulations.
Thank you very
Both
much.
of you have also become something of social media stars. How has it changed? What does it feel like?
It's been surreal, and if I'm being honest, a bit overwhelming. But if I can be an inspiration to young women that want to go to law school and study and work hard, then it was all worth it.
You made the choice.
I mean, I'm not a young woman, but I did want to go to law school, and I'll be honest with you, my LSAT scores sucked. I mean, I'll be honest.
To go to Virginia for this trial. How much of a difference did that make?
I think Virginia was a good venue for some legal and other reasons, and it has a fabulous court system, tremendous judges and fair juries, and I think this the evidence was listened to carefully on both sides by the jury, and again, it came overwhelmingly in Johnny's favor.
Ms. Heard did win on one count of defamation. Will you be appealing that?
Again, I think it's premature to say, but if you look at the context of the verdict, and it was a total win for Johnny.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you very much, George.
Yeah, and I believe that, you know, giving her that one count of defamation, which was related to, you know, her friends roughed up the place, spilled a little wine, that kind of thing. I believe that was probably a compromise. You know, she got $2 million out of that and no punitive damages. So, yeah, I thought that was a really cool interview. I mean, they were very just straight to the point, answered the questions. There wasn't like any of this like showmanship that Elaine tried to have. Like when Elaine said like, yeah, we walked back into the conference room and she just immediately said, I am so sorry. I mean, just imagine, okay, all right, is there defamation here? But, you know, paraphrasing, but is there defamation? Yes. Then she goes back into the conference room and she's just like, I am so sorry to all those women. No, she didn't. But now let's check out the Today Show interview. This one's a little bit longer, and I'll probably pause less on this one because I'm sure they'll probably have a lot of the same talking points, but I'm curious to see what happens here.
A trial watched by millions around the world, ending in a stunning verdict in favor of Johnny Depp. Last week, a jury found that Depp's ex-wife, Amber Heard, had defamed him in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed. She's been ordered to pay more than $10 million in damages. Heard, who plans to appeal, won just one of 3 claims in her counter lawsuit against Depp and was awarded $2 million in damages.
We are grateful, so grateful.
Depp's supporters cheering the verdict, and Depp's lawyers, Camille Vasquez and Benjamin Chu, who became public figures in their own right during the trial.
True.
Legions of viewers on YouTube and social media hanging on every word and gesture.
Ms. Heard has told you that she has mountains of evidence of abuse, but there are no medical records.
Ms. Heard lies.
True.
She lies all the time.
Heard's team has alleged a coordinated social media campaign by Depp's side, turning public opinion and ultimately the jury against her.
They went home every night. They have families. The families are on social media. We had a 10-day break in the middle because of...
I mean, to insinuate that the jury cannot make decisions on their own and they're just going to go with whatever the public is saying is ridiculous. Furthermore, even here's the thing. Say they didn't go on social media at all. Her experts brought in the graph with all the different hashtags, just for Johnny Depp, Amber, Turd. They would have never even known that existed, you know, like, and you brought that in. And I thought that, like, immediately when they brought that evidence in, it's like, you're literally telling the jury what the public thinks. Like, hello?
the judicial conference. There's no way they couldn't have been influenced by it.
No
a charge
way.
that Depp's team denies, saying the outpouring of support for the actor is nothing but authentic. Depp thanked those supporters yesterday in his first post on a newly created TikTok account.
Yes, I did see
writing,
that.
"We did the right thing together, all because you cared." And joining us now are Johnny Depp's lawyers, Camille Vasquez and Benjamin Chu. And a quick disclosure, my husband has done consulting work for the Depp legal team, but not in connection with this interview. So with that aside,
Oh, wow,
let me
okay.
ask you, did you speak to your client right after the verdict? What was his reaction in the moment?
I think just an overwhelming sense of relief. I was speaking with another friend of ours, a mutual friend of Johnny's and ours, and he said, I haven't seen Johnny smile like that in 6 years.
The weight of the world is off of his shoulders. He's got his life back.
As you well know, the law does not favor a plaintiff like Johnny Depp in a defamation case like this. The burden is very high, the threshold is high, and he crossed it. Frankly speaking, were you stunned at this victory? Ben?
Well, we had ultimate confidence in Johnny and the jury and the facts of this case, and you can only hope that the jury will see it. And in this case, they did, and the verdict was overwhelmingly in his favor.
I should mention the jury did find Mr. Depp responsible for defamation for
why
one
the
of the
captions are on.
statements
Sorry
made
about
by
that.
his lawyer. It accused her essentially of staging a scene in furtherance of an abuse hoax. How do you square that finding with the rest of the verdict, Camille?
I think it's just the verdict is overwhelmingly positive for Johnny. And
Yeah, I hate to pause Camille in the middle of her sentence there, but yeah, I mean, I've seen people on Twitter that are like, yeah, well, she won one. It's like, holy shit. It's like, it's not even in the same realm. Like,
it was unanimous. There were 7 people that decided he was defamed.
Amber Heard's attorney was right here the day after the verdict, and she said the
Right
jury
away.
had not been permitted to see certain evidence that would have bolstered and verified Amber Heard's claims of abuse, in particular therapist notes. What is your response to that? And was there evidence that was suppressed for a
wait, which therapist? Don Hughes or Dr. Spiegel? You know, two very respected, I can't remember exactly what their roles were, but some sort of psychologist or something like that. And it's like, really, those people?
valid legal reason that might have made a difference?
I think that was very disappointing to hear that and to hear her impugn the character of the jury.
True.
And, the evidence came in that should come in, and the judge was very fair to both sides.
In particular, she cites the UK judgment. As we all know, Johnny Depp sued The Sun, a new
I like that she said sued the Sun, because Elaine in her interviews were making it sound like this is the same case, and it wasn't. Okay, like in that case, which I didn't follow, but I mean you don't have to follow it to understand this. It's like it wasn't Johnny versus Amber or Amber versus Johnny. It was Johnny versus the Sun, and I believe Amber was a witness, not even like a live witness, but a deposition witness in that case.
newspaper in the United Kingdom.
And also, it's the United Kingdom. Like, I don't understand. Like, I loved how in Amber's statement after the trial, she was like, oh, the UK case, and then I lost the freedom of speech, or however she phrased it. It's like, pick a country, okay?
He lost that case, the judge finding that claims by the newspaper that he was a wife beater were substantially true. Now, Amber Heard's lawyers say that judgment should have come into this court case. What say you?
It was a different process, right? And
Yeah.
also, Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard in this case were the parties. They had different disclosure obligations.
Yes.
So we disagree. The overwhelming evidence that was presented in this case in Virginia far exceeded what was presented in the UK, and we believe the jury got it right.
As you know, this trial was very closely watched. Social media certainly took off in a way that we've seen high-profile trials before, but this is the social media age. Do you believe the jurors saw any of that, were swayed by any of that?
No, I don't think there's any reason to believe that the jurors violated their oath. And again, that suggestion was disappointing to hear.
Yeah, I mean, Amber Heard's lawyer said so. She said it would have been unavoidable because it's on TikTok, it's on social media. I mean, in the old days, you'd tell the jury before they went out, don't read newspapers, don't watch the evening news. Now it's everywhere.
It is everywhere, but at the same time, they were admonished every single night. And they had a tremendous amount of respect, I think, for the court and the process, and they were doing the best that they could.
Yeah. Support for Johnny Depp online was exponentially.
Johnny Depp united America. Okay? He did. I mean, seriously, though, like, I think the thing is like, here's the thing, like people are agreeing with this because they see what I saw, and also probably what 99 or 98% of you watching this video also saw as well. This isn't like some grand conspiracy. It wasn't like Johnny made underground deals with these social media platforms to, I mean, that is just so ridiculous. Like anything outside of just people just having a brain and being like, yeah, she's lying or whatever. You know, it's like I find that so sore loser-y. You know.
Greater than for Amber Heard. Just one example on TikTok, the Justice for Amber Heard hashtag has 27 million views. Justice for Johnny Depp, 20 billion. Heard's attorneys have suggested that perhaps this is because of an orchestrated campaign on behalf of Johnny Depp. Do you know anything about an online campaign on behalf of Johnny Depp?
That is utterly baseless. In fact,
True.
very early in the case, the prior chief.
Yeah, Johnny paid for 20 billion social media posts, interactions, all that. Yeah, he paid for that. I mean, listen, Johnny, you know, he's got a lot of money, and yeah, he just paid for it. I mean, what a like moronic thing to say.
Chief Judge White had thrown out a count in the counterclaims that related to that. It was absolutely absurd and baseless.
And you know for a fact that neither he nor his agents nor anyone tried to in some way pay for or otherwise encourage this kind of social media activity.
Categorically false.
Why do you think the jury didn't believe her? Because when you look at the verdict,
because
it really
it was
comes
bullshit.
down to that. The issue was, is what she's saying true or false? And by their verdict, they said it's false.
Well, my sense is that it had a lot to do with accountability, that Johnny owned his issues. He was very candid about his alcohol and drug issues. He was candid about some unfortunate texts that he wrote. And I think it was a sharp contrast to Ms. Heard, who didn't seem, or at least the jury may have perceived, that she didn't take accountability for anything.
As you know, this
Yeah, here's the thing for me. Right now, I know that, you know, I'm not a domestic violence expert or anything like that, but I know that these things show in different ways. And I'm not saying you need photographic evidence of every time anything ever happens in the history of the entire time that the abuse is taking place. However, there were times where, like, I'm almost positive that she took pictures of things that he did in the house that overlapped with a time when she would have visible markings of abuse that she claimed. There was no pictures. And also she mentioned about the bottle incident, which I don't want to elaborate on that. But again, I'm not a woman, and you know, I'm speculating here, but I would assume that something like that may result in needing some form of medical treatment. And then she also claimed that a lot of these things weren't that major of injuries, so she didn't need to seek any medical attention. It just doesn't add up, man. It just doesn't add up.
has been closely watched, and in the Me Too context, some people have wondered whether there is a larger resonance to this trial, whether it sends a message. Do you see any larger message beyond the case you tried?
No. I mean, frankly, we don't.
Yeah, they talked about this in the other
we're here
interview.
to talk about the case that we tried, right? We encourage all victims to come forward, have their day in court, which is exactly what happened in this case.
Do you feel confident in your appeal? Ms. Heard does intend to appeal.
We feel very confident that there are no errors that would justify any kind of successful appeal.
And then finally, I have to ask you, not since OJ, perhaps, has the trial been so closely watched and the lawyers become famous people in their own right. What has that been like for you, particularly you, Camille? I think I saw someone on social media get a tattoo of your face on their body, which is weird.
It's been overwhelming and surreal, but to the extent that I can encourage young women to stay in school and maybe inspire them to pursue a legal career, then it's all worth it.
Well, I understand you got a promotion yesterday to partner.
Well deserved.
I was going to say, about time, other partner, right? Camille Vasquez, Ben Chu. Just saying. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I really enjoyed these interviews. I think that they were just very poignant, to the point. There wasn't anything. I mean, what can they really say? I honestly believe that if Elaine didn't go on like these weird tirades that she did on like 5 different platforms, that they wouldn't have probably done this. But, you know, you kind of have to, you know, kind of sink down a little bit, I guess, in a way to meet this head on. And also, I mean, eventually they were going to say something, I think. But I think, I think that Elaine's appearance has probably expedited that process. But yeah, no, I think this is a very compelling case, and I think that I don't know. I just think it's kind of disgusting and shameful that Amber's lawyers are using this as a way to continue on with this like Me Too like rhetoric, like, oh, now they're never going to come forward. I just think that is absolutely ridiculous that you're trying to have this emotional appeal to people who have actually suffered real consequences of domestic violence. I think that's awful. I think it's shameless, and I hope that if they do appeal, which, again, I'm not a legal expert. I'm just a person who followed this closely, who happens to have a YouTube account that knows how to record myself and talking to a microphone. I don't, like, what is the appeal going to be here? Like, are they going to retry it? Can she afford that? I know there's some talk about the homeowner's insurance. I just don't see a way. I don't see a way. I think that in the end, I think that Amber should just move on, take care of her daughter, try to move on with her life, which is what she said she wants to do. But anyways, if there's anything else that happens with this case, I'll probably do more videos for it, because I was just so invested in this. And it's some diverse content on my channel, which is mainly heavy metal music. So yeah, anyways, till the next one, peace.